We are live. I think I missed the we, but are live also kind of works for this scenario as well. We are live, Friday edition, getting all ready for week 6 NFL action. Trying to make some last minute lineup decisions, trying to tell you who's going to go off, trying to give you some bold predictions, trying to do a lot of things. Whether we can do it, we'll find out. First, we got to start off with a couple breaking news stories. I think the biggest one is going to be that Nick Chubb out for Sunday versus Arizona. They talked to Kevin Stefanski about it, and he was I believe the wording was non-committal about IR for Chubb. And I'm just trying to find, yes, that was the wording used, non-committal about whether Chubb will have to go on IR. So this looks like it could be something that's a multi-week lingering thing.
Could be.
If you are a Chubb owner, I guess you could, first point of view would be, where do you pivot from here? And if you are a Kareem Hunt owner, how do you feel about this situation?
I think if you're a Kareem Hunt owner, I think this moves it so like you don't move Kareem Hunt from your lineup for the next indefinite amount of time that Nick Chubb's out. If you're a Nick Chubb owner, I think Nick Chubb's probably your RB1 more than likely. So I think we all hope that it's like nothing long term, like doesn't have to go on the IR. But I think you start trying to prepare as if he is going to be out for, 4 to 5 weeks, and I think you try to trade away a couple of your wide receivers or tight ends or something like that, and shore up a decent replacement for Nick Chubb while the time being.
Yeah, I think Demetric Felton could be an interesting speculative ad for Chubb owners. I don't think Kareem Hunt is going to be a crazy workhorse. So I don't think it's just going to be Kareem Hunt. They're going to get other people involved, I suspect.
Right.
We've seen this happen. We saw this happen last year, and Kareem Hunt didn't really take crazy full advantage of it. So, but you could also say the same thing with Alexander Mattison, who has been going off in place of Dalvin Cook this year, was not showing as strong a performance as last year. You obviously upgrade Kareem Hunt in the meantime, but it could also be an opportunity to sell on Kareem Hunt if you want to do that. If you're in a good spot, let's say like you're up a couple games in your league or you're undefeated right now, would you trade Kareem Hunt for like a Saquon Barkley?
That's tough. I don't know if I trade him for. I don't think for Saquon.
What if you did like Saquon, or you did Kareem Hunt and somebody else, and you got? I don't think anybody would give you Kareem Hunt or Saquon and Booker, but if you could do that, I would do that in a heartbeat. I would probably do it for Saquon also.
I mean, Saquon would be good. It's just that he didn't practice already. So, like, this week, you're going to be out of more. And also, like, he had 2, 3.
You're cutting out a ton.
How's that?
Not much better. But I would do it. I just think the upside with Saquon, obviously having the backfield to himself, is something that's very tempting. And it depends on your situation, where you kind of are as far as like if your record's very good or if your record's poor, you're not going to do that. You're going to take full advantage of this. Again, like I don't think it's going to be 100% Kareem Hunt, but mostly Kareem Hunt show while you can.
I think Felton might get a fair play though, just because Kareem also a little banged up, I believe it was wrist or something like that, maybe.
Yeah,
And so he isn't 100%. I think there's another thing wrong with him too. So I think Felton might get a lot more work this week than he will probably in the weeks coming, depending on how far out Nick Chubb is going to be listed as out.
agreed. Definitely a guy I would probably add, especially if you are a Chubb owner.
Right. Would you do Kareem Hunt for someone like James Robinson? Like, would you do that trade?
That's tough. I don't know. I feel like Kareem Hunt has to have been close to James Robinson, if not outperformed him so far this year, right?
He's outperformed him this year, but Robinson's last 3 games have been on a tear, whereas like Kareem Hunt has kind of just had like a steady sort of, besides week 2, he's been pretty steady, like 17, 27, 16, 26, basically.
I'd probably stick with Kareem Hunt, to be honest.
It depends how long Nick Chubb is out, and also depends on how he performs this game. But it's an interesting conversation. Number one guy versus like the one in an off. I don't know. It was an interesting just figure it out.
Yeah, I'd probably stick with Kareem Hunt, but I think it's close. Other big news is Zach Ertz traded to Arizona for Tay Gowan, coming and going. And I wrote a 2022 first. That's not true.
That is very incorrect.
Fifth.
Zach Ertz is really good, but I wouldn't trade 2 people to pick for him.
Max Williams actually had a couple big weeks
Right.
in Arizona before he had a very tough injury.
Mm-hmm.
What are your expectations? I miswrote Ertz. Jeez.
Just take it down. Take it down. Start over. Do it from scratch. No big deal. Not live.
What are your expectations for Ertz going forward?
I don't know, because it's a good tight end. But there's so many passes in Arizona. Like, they're winning without him very clearly. Like, they have 4 good wide receivers and 2 capable running backs back there. And then they have just an amazing athlete in Kyler Murray. So I think for real football purposes, it helps the Arizona Cardinals. But fantasy football, I'm not expecting huge RB1 numbers from Zach Ertz week in and week out. I think some games will be his game and some games it won't, but I'm not expecting consistent, like, starting caliber numbers for Zach Ertz moving forward.
I mean, he's worth an addition.
Yeah,
I think
he's an interesting speculative ad, but
at the best, he's going to be like a Fant or somebody like that. I think that's kind of his ceiling, is a guy that's like, you can start every week, but you might not actually get more production than streaming the position. It just saves you a little bit of the convenience and like a little bit of the guessing game. I'm just not sure that the upside is like crazy, crazy high because, like you said, the amount of targets they already have. And I think he's going to be like, if he has a touchdown, he'll have a really good week. But outside of that, it's kind of just like hoping for 6 points, 7 points or something like that. Yeah, can't say that I have much higher expectations outside of that. Let's get into the injuries before we break down the rest of the week 6 games that we did not cover yesterday. If you do not hear a game today and you're like, why didn't they mention that game? We did mention that game. We just talked about it yesterday. So check out Thursday's episode to see that. Let me roll through these. Christian McCaffrey, limited Wednesday, did not participate Thursday, 50-50 chance to play this week. Tyreek Hill has not participated in practice yet due to a quad injury. DeAndre Hopkins has an illness and has not participated yet in practice. Chubb is out, as we mentioned. Kareem Hunt did not participate the last 2 days. But reports in today say that he was at practice and at least doing some work today. Justin Jefferson has not participated yet this week. Same with Adam Thielen. Mixon did not participate yesterday, but he was at practice today. And Zach Taylor says that he is expected to get his full workload this week. Chris Carson has not participated yet. Neither has Mike Williams for the Chargers. Damian Harris was a limited participant Thursday after not participating on Wednesday. Damian Williams has COVID positive test. It's going to be tough for him to come back, but it is possible, like we mentioned yesterday. We don't know about his vaccination status, but if he is vaccinated, he needs 2 negative tests without 24 hours apart, I believe it is.
I think so, something like that.
Galladay is doubtful. He hasn't practiced all week, including today. Shepard and Slayton have been limited all week. They are expected to go. Tony has been limited all week. Devontae Parker has not participated. Daniel Jones limited yesterday. I believe he is expected to be limited today. Tua is expected to play. And then T.Y., who we talked about yesterday, he said just because I'm practicing doesn't mean that I'm necessarily playing yet. So his status is very much still up in the air for this week. Antonio Gibson was also just added to the game status report for Washington as questionable. I mean, he's been questionable for every week now, right. So I'm not too worried about that. Terry McLaurin was also recently added with a hamstring. Some hamstring tightness, didn't practice today or was limited today. So that is most of the injuries, I'm sure.
Who, Mike Williams?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure I forgot more that maybe as we do these games, we will come across as we go. Let's talk about the game last night to start. Tough day for the spread people, or a great day for the spread people. Tampa Bay was favored by 7.
They only won by 6.
Correct.
I think they hit the spread.
I mean, if you took Philly, they did.
You never want to bet against an Eagle.
I suppose so. Do you want to bet against a Buck, though?
What's a Buck?
It's a Pirate.
Maybe.
I don't know, man. I never want to be on the wrong side of a Pirate. I feel like I'm a grown person. Like an Eagle would probably hurt, but it wouldn't be able to carry me away.
Are you kidding me? Have you seen Eagles? They are knocking sheep off of mountains, dude. They just get in there, pick them up, and
I'm not a sheep.
Yeah, you're right. You're lighter than a sheep.
I don't know if that's true. How heavy is your average sheep?
Sheep are heavy. You know how much wool they have on them? They're heavy, dude.
Does wool weigh that much? Average weight. Okay, that's very big.
350 pounds, man.
Well, okay. Let's give away all the information here. You went.
All male can be between 99 and 350.
Yeah, well, you just said 350. That's the maximum that they've probably ever found.
Okay.
And you said, wow, they're 350.
They are 350.
They can be, but They could also be 99 pounds.
But the Hawks are still knocking over those 300-pounders.
Well, we're not talking about Hawks. We're talking about Eagles.
Same thing, same family.
No, they're not. Or else we'd be talking about the Hawks.
Don't want to mess with the Hawks either. They're undefeated.
Are they?
No, it's the Cardinals. Come on, Condo. Get the joke, dude.
All right, I'm not afraid of a Cardinal either. I would be if I was. Who do they play? Cleveland? Yeah. I would be in that case. But we are talking about Tampa Bay and the Eagles.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Last night, I think the biggest story is probably Leonard Fournette just popping off.
Lenny of a game, baby.
30.7 fantasy points, 22 rushes, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 for 46 receiving. I mean, he's also been hot of late. Like, he has one game under 10 points
Right.
in full PPR, and I think in his last 3 games, I think he's had around 15, if not more.
He went 10, 11, 6, 16, 21, 30. So he is like progressively getting better as the year is gone.
Yeah, I mean, there's serious consideration for that could be made for Leonard Fournette being like a running back too, at the least.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's running back 15, so he's top end as far as that's concerned. Uh, who knows? I mean,
Do you think that'll remain throughout the year? Do you think he'll stay up there?
I don't know. Like, if he doesn't get a touchdown, best he's got is 16. I mean, that's good. That's a very productive week. I don't know RB1 numbers though, like where he's kind of put right now with the last couple of weeks. He's an RB2 for sure. Definitely startable in every format.
Yeah, you have to start him until he disappoints.
He got you 10 points through catches though yesterday, which is kind of like in half point PPR. It's like a little bit more wearisome, but I think you're fine. I think you start him, and he's going to finish as an upper half, like RB18 or better this year.
I mean, you love the receiving upside,
Right.
especially in full point. He's been going off. I mean, he's had at least 3 catches in every game. He's had
He gets so close to the line though. Like you have to let him he has to either break the tackle right away or he just gets
he's
negative.
capable of.
He is capable of. I'm just saying, like if defense like adjust to it, it could be tough for 5 catches for negative 10 yards. So he's got prepared for weeks.
I don't know about negative 10.
I'm taking a guess.
But, I mean, I don't think many running backs are getting, like, a ton of air yards on their targets.
No,
It's
I don't know how to check that stat, but I'll just believe you.
he kinda is like I mean, he reminds me of Kareem Hunt in a lot of ways, just being on, like, a good offense and getting receiving work. I don't know that he has that upside just because of how much Tampa Bay chooses to throw the ball,
Right.
but I like him a lot more than I did to start the year. That's one thing for certain, and I like him a lot more than I feel like I should, and I don't wanna let a 30.7 point game get to my head, but you look at some of these teams that they're gonna have to play. They're gonna play Chicago. New Orleans might keep it close, but, like, they're gonna play Washington, they're gonna play the Giants, they're gonna play Indy, they're gonna play Atlanta, they're gonna play the Jets still, so, like, there's some games where this team should just be up. And yeah, like, how can you dislike, number 1, that schedule, and then number 2, like, the opportunity on one of the best offenses in football? So,
I mean, like I said, start him.
yeah,
Obviously,
you have to.
I'm not gonna go out and trade like a certified RB1 or a fringe RB.
Darrell Henderson or Leonard Fournette?
Henderson.
I'm sticking with Henderson. I think it is close, but I am sticking with Henderson. I think the other storyline in this game, also from Tampa Bay, is AB.
Mm-hmm.
He was the top performing wide receiver. And I think we talked about this a little bit before the show started. I have a feeling we're going to have a dispute on our feelings on Antonio Brown. I think Antonio Brown, maybe not safe to say, but as safe as you can be without being safe. Like, if this was baseball, not to pick on the calls last night, but they would probably try to replay review this one for a solid 10 minutes. It would be like the replay on the Brady interception that got overturned.
Right.
And some people were still saying that it shouldn't be.
I don't
I
think
think it's close to as close to like, I don't know what that has to do with safe now reflecting on it, but
not at all.
but I'm gonna say it's safe to say that AB is the number one wide receiver, at least for fantasy purposes, and I think just overall for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you look at the numbers, I mean, he's third in receptions, 2 behind Evans, 5 behind Godwin. He's only 2 yards behind Evans for the lead for the team, and he's the only one of those 3 guys that has missed an entire game. So I think, like, which is crazy for where he was drafted, but if you drafted Antonio Brown and you still have him, you've got to steal. I think he's one of the best fantasy options, probably outside of Brady or alongside Brady, on one of the best passing offenses in football.
He's an interesting guy. I mean,
that is to say the least.
I mean, on the field and off, yes, interesting guy. I don't know. Like having Antonio, if you're in half point PPR, I think it gets a little bit scarier. But for full point, you're right. He is as safe of an unsafe option that you can have. Because, I mean, you really just don't know what this guy's going to do. Like, period. No matter what context, he could go out there and get you 0 points, or he'd go out there and drop a 30 bomb for you. Or you just fight the offense. You don't really know what Antonio Brown's capable of until he gets out there. I don't know. I don't love the idea of having Antonio Brown as my number one guy, but if he's like my wide receiver 2 or a flex, I think that's where.
Well, yeah, I don't think he
will with you having him.
I don't think he is anyone's number one guy. I mean, you look at he was drafted as the wide receiver 43.
I'm just saying trades happen though. You know, trade away this guy, he gets injured, so now on your bench.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't do that, but if you drafted him, you're pumped. It's tough. I understand because there's so many weapons there that it does eat into everybody's fantasy value, but whenever AB is played, he's one dud. And for a wide receiver, like, that's pretty dang good. So I am feeling like very good about AB if I have him. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's worth trading for just because he did have 31 and 24 in his last 2 games. So I don't think you're going to get a great deal on him, but someone you're very excited to have.
I mean, I'm just looking through, like, if someone picked up Jared and, you know, Julio, like, first 2 wide receivers, Antonio Brown would be their number one guy just because I feel a lot less comfortable with that being my. I'm with you. If he's not my number one, then I'm fine. If I have someone.
So what would you do if he was your number one?
Try to trade 30 guys, more consistent, someone who has less of a target share downside. If I could, maybe like Stefan, DJ, or maybe like probably Metcalf. Case kind of.
I think there's no way you get DK Metcalf.
You get DK.
What?
I mean, you have to pick up another. I think you can do it, but just because Antonio Brown said was so late, you have other. I mean, you never know. They could be on a team that's 1-4, and they need more upside at another position. I don't know. Could do it. Those are like people who have a higher plan. Or sorry, not higher floor. Safely.
All right. I mean, I don't know if I would even look to trade him, like, unless you could get. I don't know. Like, I don't think anybody's trading DJ Moore for AB. I don't think anyone's trading Deontay Johnson for AB. Maybe if you could get that.
I mean, what about Stefan? Stephon.
I definitely don't think anyone's trading Stephon.
Really?
Just name wise, I don't think anybody's ready to give up on him yet.
I
And
don't.
he hasn't done anything to like
I don't think it's.
kill you.
I don't think it's giving up yet. I think just the fact that Antonio Brown is the best for. What do you silly?
He's the bigger name.
I think people who live past Antonio Brown's a much bigger name than Stephon Diggs.
Well, not in fantasy football. I mean, one guy was going as the wide receiver 3, the other guy was going as 43. That's why I don't think anybody's going to say, "Oh, I drafted this guy potentially with my early second round pick."
But Stephon Diggs hasn't missed a game yet. Wide receiver 25 Antonio Brown has missed a game, and where is he? 26, like literally right behind him. So I think, like you could, I think you could sell. I think you can make a pick offer for Stephon Diggs from Antonio Brown. Might have to throw the help there in particular, but I think you can't do it. I think you should do it, but
I don't know. I don't know. I can barely hear you though. So we got to figure something out.
I don't know how you try to figure it out.
I hear a lot of noises. I'm going to mute until you set up just so people don't have to hear the clacking.
We're good, I think. Is that better?
For now.
Perfect.
Let's talk about, I think the last really thing we have to cover in this game is Miles Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
He just needs the ball. I mean, if you now, I think Tampa Bay just kind of gave up on said, all right, they aren't running the ball. And that's when the Eagles started running the ball a little bit because it just looked like the holes were huge. But I mean, he's just so explosive when he does get the ball. I think he's a good player. And he's somebody that if I could buy low, look at his numbers. He was 9 for 56 on the ground yesterday, 2 catches for 10 yards, 8.6 in full point PPR. He also has 0 touchdowns on the year. So, if you can buy low on Miles Sanders, I would look to do that.
I am not quite there for Miles Sanders. I love here. I think the Bucs gave just fitted the stuff.
Okay, you are in rough shape.
Is it bad?
It's every other word.
Here, hold on.
Can we have you log out and then log back in?
Yeah.
Take over for the meantime. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to hear. I suppose we don't have to hear Cody's point against Miles Sanders. So it kind of means that I was right, which is always never a bad thing. But Miles Sanders, yeah, if you watch that game yesterday, you can kind of see the athleticism and just the player that he is. It comes down to that opportunity and whether he is able to. Thank you. So I can take extra. I know. I have to do the show with a guy who always says I'm wrong. So sometimes it makes me second guess. But here he is. Okay, let's see if that's any better.
Is this better?
Is for now.
All right, good. Can I continue what I was saying about Sanders?
Sure. I just got to take off the "you were right," or else people might get confused.
No, they're gonna no. Second take extra said I was right. It's fine. I just watching the game. They just were giving the stuff underneath. I felt like they looked like cover 4 for a lot of it. Just everyone was back, and then they left the middle of the field wide open. I think Jalen Hurts, the fact that he just kept running it anyway. I think they were more focused on him and just having a guy play QB spy and kind of just where we can just rally the football on Miles Sanders. So I'm not quite there on the love because on a game that they were giving up underneath stuff, he still didn't get double digits. So I'm not quite there. I am with you. He will score touchdowns. So he will be okay, but I'm not there.
For me, the worry isn't his talent though. The worry is just the touches. And I feel like when he gets touches, I mean, the Eagles have had a rough schedule to start off the year. Atlanta is obviously not your biggest worry, and in that game he had 17.3, but then San Fran, Dallas, KC, Carolina, Tampa Bay. Schedule doesn't get a ton lighter right away. They still have they play Raiders, which is a decent opportunity. Then they play anyway, they play Detroit in the next two. But then they play the Chargers, Denver, New Orleans. That's going to be pretty tough. But if he gets the opportunities, I think that he can be what we expected him to be coming into the year, which was an RB2, like solid RB2.
I don't know how much more of an opportunity we can give the guy who's getting week 5, 75% of the snaps, week 6.
No, but I'm talking about like he can get in on snaps, but like
he's there on like they don't want to give him the ball. That's for a reason. Like it's
what
either
reason? Like I don't think it's any reason of his own doing.
I don't know if I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm just saying like looking at the game, like they're giving up these giant run opportunities, and like the Eagles were still like, no, we're gonna pass it.
I mean,
and,
they
like,
were down by 21 points.
But I'm talking about when they were down by 14, and then they came
in the
up
fourth
in the
quarter.
Late third.
I guess. I mean, it just seems.
But like, if they're
it seems like they're trailing in a lot of these games, and like they're just throwing the ball and like a non-committal by Sirianni to just like run the ball. Like I don't know that it's Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders has one game where he's rushed for under 4 yards a carry, and that was KC. I mean, I can't see one, either him keeping his job, or two, like them continuing to just ignore running the ball. It's one of the things has to like turn around.
I'm gonna look real quick.
But do you have anything else from this game?
I just said Mike Evans literally gives away every single run play. Like watching the game makes me so upset.
What do you mean?
So every single time it was a run play to like either like up the middle or backside or anything, Mike Evans would take like one step and just look. Like does not do anything. And so as like a defensive coordinator, just like literally just have someone watch Mike Evans the entire game. And like he would tell you every play. Every single play he would tell you. And I think it's like just a real football thing, not a fancy football thing.
That's an interesting pickup. Cody is watching studying. Somebody pick up this guy as a defensive coordinator.
I should be. I'd take this team.
You own the teams. You might as well just.
I own the teams, but you know they have a rule against it. It's just it's managerial stuff. Nothing.
Yeah, it's a bunch of big words I wouldn't understand.
Big words I don't know.
Let's get into the Sunday slate. Start talking about some of the games to look forward to. Starting with Green Bay at Chicago. Big divisional matchup. Obviously, we talked about Damian Williams being out in this, or likely going to be out in this game. That means Khalil Herbert, who had a very good week last week, 18 for 75. Green Bay, kind of middle of the pack against the run and in fantasy points allowed. But Chicago is one of 3 teams in the NFL that run the ball more than they pass. What are your expectations for Herbert coming in this game?
For Herbert, I think he's in for a decent game. I don't know. Like I think if you have him, you start him just because he's the number one. If Damian Williams is out, he's going to be the number one back, and they have no one else. So he will get the looks and he'll get the love. But their wide receivers are kind of porous this week. I think A-Rob's a non-participant.
I think that's back-to-back poruses. Back-to-back shows. Anyway, sorry.
I think
A-Rob and Mooney have both
right.
been
So
out.
If you have no one else out there and your quarterback is not making things happen at what people would call a good, viable, elite option as a quarterback, I think it's in for a tough game for him, but I don't know if it's not going to be his fault, but I don't think he's in for like a great game. I could see him getting underneath 10 points easy, even in PPR.
Yeah, the scary thing is he had 18 carries for 75 yards last week and had no targets,
Mm-hmm.
and no catches or anything. So
Right.
that's kind of the scary thing is, Damon Williams is out, but like, is he going to see any of the passing game work? Because if not, you're kind of banking on touchdowns. So I think that's what puts him more into the flex consideration, like high upside flex consideration, than like a solid RB2 or RB1 category.
I can't see him as like an RB1, but it's the Bears.
But like
Right.
our expectations,
It's the Bears. Their quarterback situation's a little bad right now, so it's going to be a tough game for them, and they're playing the Packers, who are not.
They're not going to be able to run the ball 30 something times like they did last week.
Right. So it's going to be a different game for them. I don't love a lot of the Bears this week, if any, really.
Agreed. Do you have anything else from this game?
No. Said Aaron Jones is finally free. Congratulations, Aaron Jones. That's what I put.
Well, it's interesting because A.J. Dillon's had like back-to-back solid games, and Matt LaFleur said, well, he had 10.7 and then 17.9 last week. Mm-hmm. Matt LaFleur says he needs to get more touches and get him more involved.
Mm-hmm.
I think there could be two things with that. If that worries you about Aaron Jones, personally does not worry me.
Me neither.
And then two, like if he has another solid game, does that like change our expectations of him?
I think no, Aaron Jones was drafted as an RB1. The expectation is he will be an RB1 this year. He's delivered on that so far. He's kind of taken some of Devontae Adams' touchdowns, in my opinion, just because he has, I think, A. Jones has like 4. I think Devontae has
a lot of his points came from that one game, though, too.
Right, they did. I think it's a good game for him, though, this game. So that's why I say he's finally going to be free.
Yeah.
My opinion is not too different.
I think it could be a good game for A.J. Dillon as well. Like, I don't think there's many instances where you're going to trust starting him. But say maybe you're in a pinch where you have, I don't know, like a bunch of guys on bye this week and A.J. Dillon on your bench. And maybe if a guy like Terry McLaurin is out, or a guy like, Terry McLaurin's probably not in your flex, but
if he is, congratulations.
A guy like Damian Williams that just got hurt and something like that, and you need a pinch start, like somebody to get you 8 points.
Right.
I think A.J. Dillon could be that guy with some touchdown upside as well. So, like, not an option that you want to start, but if you are desperate, maybe a guy to look at.
Right. I'm with you.
Next game is Chargers at the Ravens. Ravens are favored in this one, which is interesting to me. Personally, I think the Chargers are going to win, and I'm not sure that it's going to be terribly close. I don't think they're going to like beat them by 20, but I think they could have the lead throughout the game. And
kind of like the Tampa Bay Eagles game from last night. Like, you knew Tampa Bay was going to win, but the score might not reflect it. I'm with you.
Yeah, so I see Eckler kind of having just a great Eckler game. Is typically like, that's not going out on a limb too much to say. They're both teams are giving up top 10 is as far as most fantasy points allowed to running backs. They're also both top 3 in most fantasy points allowed to tight ends. So could be a big game for Mark Andrews again, and Jared Cook if you need to stream a tight end.
Right. Ravens are like top 10 against the run this year. Pretty weak against the pass, giving them close to 300 yards. I kind of took a different guy from the Chargers. I said Keenan Allen is in for a great game.
I can see that.
when we get to bold predictions, I got kind of a Todi's Timid take for you. But yeah, I like Mike. I like Keenan Allen this week a lot. But for my takeaway for this game, I had Lamar's sick, Sammy's out, Marquise Brown is in for another bomber. Like, I think he's in for another great game. Chargers aren't terrifying. Like, they are, but like they're giving up like 200 yards a game, and I think with like everyone out, I think like Marquise Brown could get like 100+ yards this game by himself. So I think like Chargers are good against the pass, but I think Marquise Brown is going to be like the only healthy guy besides Andrews as far as the pass catchers go. So he's going to just benefit from depth chart failure, I guess. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams, it's interesting that you say Baltimore's giving up a ton through the air because it's just not translating to fantasy points
Right.
yet. And obviously that could sway a lot depending on touchdowns and stuff like that. But both teams are among the bottom 10 in fantasy points allowed to opposing teams. So,
I think that's just,
among wide receivers. Sorry.
right. That's just got to do, I think that's a lot to do with touchdowns, because for points, 296 yards is what, like 30, 35 points maybe? I'm not even sure what it translates to.
I don't think it's that many.
Yeah, don't think so either. It's kind of low.
For who? For
no
quarterbacks or wide receivers?
Both, I guess. I know for quarterbacks
it would be different. For wide receivers, it would be 30.
Right. So that's, as long as they're not giving up touchdowns, that's only 30 points, even to one guy. That's, not a crazy game. Or it is a crazy game, but like you get 300.
I would say so.
I'd say so too, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like as the team total,
Gotcha. Next one is Minnesota at Carolina. Dalvin for the first time. Well, Dalvin coming back.
Right.
And off the injury report for the first time in a long time.
Finally, baby.
I think just like it's an interesting matchup with Carolina, a defense trying to rebound and keep that beginning of the season expectation of being one of the top defenses in the NFL against a great running back, hopefully back healthy for the first time. Madison is going to play. He also had some injury concerns. How do you think this backfield is going to split? Do you think they're going to be patient with Dalvin, or do you think he's just back?
I'm hoping that they're like slightly patient, but not like they were
when he got 9 carries.
Right, and they like just literally sat him for.
How many touches do you expect Dalvin to get?
Touches? 12. I think 12 touches.
Really?
I wanted to say 8 to 12, and then I wanted to say 12 to 15, so I said 12 was the number I said twice, so I'm going to go with 12.
I think he gets at least 15.
I thought that, but Carolina is a top 10 run defense, and it also depends how like if Thielen and Jefferson play. Obviously, if they're playing, that's where I get the 12. If they're out, I think the number goes up to 15 to 18. But I think Madison comes in and helps if just in general to help alleviate some of it. Panthers are a tough defense. They've played good teams, so like they're an actual defense this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough matchup. Obviously, Dalvin is kind of one of those guys that's matchup proof. I would have no hesitation to start him.
No, you start Dalvin Cook. It's just on the field, I don't think he is there quite as often as like you want to see him. I think he's going to be there, but I don't know if he's going to be like on the field all game.
I think Madison works his way in, but not enough to really make a difference. Like I still expect Dalvin to get like 15 to 20 touches. Maybe not like 20 plus, like usual, but that's still like as much as most running backs are going to get you.
Right.
I don't really have anything on the Panthers. I mean, like, it's just will Christian McCaffrey play on the other side?
Right.
And obviously, if he does, he's going to go off because that's just what Christian McCaffrey always does.
And against Minnesota, who's been pretty weak in the run defense, if he plays, I think he's in for a great bounce back game, and then everyone will get right back behind CMC as number one running back on the year and all that
Well,
good.
he's going to be a number one the rest of the season. But
yeah, right behind Derrick Henry.
Well, he can't be number one and then be behind him.
Exactly, Kendo. Exactly. He'll be the number 2 guy.
I don't know.
Minnesota is favored though, which like kind of scares me because I don't think we're winning this game. As a Minnesota fan, like I want us to win, but
getting Dalvin certainly helps. The receivers will be the interesting call. Right. How do you feel about those receivers? Like Adam Thielen has seen a little bit of a skid of late. I think you still have to start him unless you're stacked.
But like, I mean, I think for most normal teams, you're starting Thielen and Jefferson. I don't think, especially where you drafted Adam Thielen, he's your starter. Like he's your wide receiver 2, maybe even wide receiver 1 based off draft order.
He's going early.
I'm not like I am worried about it, but he's the underneath guy. Like that's where he is.
Is he?
I mean,
he averaged 20 yards a catch last week.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think I think you trust Adam Thielen to catch the ball like in traffic down low. And I think like, especially if he's a little banged up, I don't think you just have him like have him like running faders all game, you know? Like I don't think you do that just as an organization. I think Justin Jefferson is going to be the more like streamer down the field, let Kirk try to bomb it out. So I think Adam Thielen just will be a little bit shorter. I like him.
Going on to Arizona at Cleveland. Cleveland favorites in this one.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of surprising favorites this week. But for fantasy sake, obviously we talked about Nick Chubb earlier. You're starting Kareem Hunt. I think that's needless to say. Also, another thing is Jarvis is eligible to return from IR. They did not say whether he would play in this game or not.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of leads into the Browns discussion here of like, what's going on with OBJ?
I don't know what's up with OBJ. Like you were
I don't
really.
know if it's him. I don't know like what it is, if it's OBJ or if it's just the chemistry with Baker or if it's just how the Browns use him or what it is.
I mean, OBJ has played 3 games, got 19 targets. Like he is getting looked at a lot. I mean, like he's out there. It's tough though. Like
You can't start him until he does something.
Right.
And luckily, I don't
think you have OBJ as a starter in your league anyway.
He was going as wide receiver 25, so he was probably somebody's flex or drafted to be somebody's flex. But like after the first 2 weeks, you hopefully found an option.
Right. I mean, OBJ was not participating. I figured you have someone better than him for that week. I think you keep him out till he proves me wrong and proves people who are a little bit slower to just like rush him with love.
Agreed. I think the expectations obviously coming back were that he was gonna be the clear number one, and he's not delivered on that. So you can't start him until he does something. Also, could be interesting to see. We just saw a big name player traded before the deadline. Trade deadline is week 8. We may see Odell on the move. He keeps performing like this. And
I don't know. Yeah.
That could be some high upside potential.
It could be, but like if you're the Brown, like not fantasy football talk right now, but like real football talk. What are you looking to get for Odell though? Like you have pieces in place. Like you have a good defense this year. If your running backs are healthy, you have two of the best running backs in the league, like together back there. If Jarvis is there, you have Jarvis, who's a good wide receiver. You have three tight ends who are all capable of catching the ball.
Who's the third?
What do you mean? Njoku, Hooper, and Bryant. What do you mean?
I don't know. I just haven't heard much. Is it Hunter Bryant?
Harrison Bryant. I think he's more of like a he's not.
Haven't heard much Harrison Bryant talk this year.
I think he's more of like the real like tight end, like blocking tight end. But
Okay.
I mean, that's still three guys who all do their job, especially with Kareem Hunt. And like you don't need Odell, but it's nice to have another wide receiver out there. Kareem Hunt's basically a wide receiver. He catches the ball more than almost everyone on the team. I don't know what you're looking to get though if you're the Browns. I don't know if we see him move.
Yeah, I'm not counting on it for sure.
I think it'd be smart
But it'd be a cool like fantasy thing.
I think it'd be helpful if they moved him. I just don't know who they move him for real football talk.
Fair. Yeah, they're not in a position where they need to sell.
Right.
They're kind of trying to contend right now. My other thing from this game is about James Conner. James Conner has been started off the year awful.
Mm-hmm.
Now kind of been worth a start every week. And is he kind of like a week in and week out flex? He has 10 plus in his last 3 games.
I think so. I mean, Chase Edmonds, I think, is the guy back there like that you want as your RB2. James Conner is an interesting, flex. I wouldn't hate it, depending on how your team looked. I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah, it's so terrifying. Like, and he might be behind Antonio Gibson. He's not like as high profile as Antonio Gibson, but I'm scared to start him because if you look at all these games where he's had production, like he's had 2 touchdowns or 1 touchdown. And without that would not have been as good. But again, we've talked about he's a guy who's has as much opportunity for a touchdown as anybody. So he's a guy that you kind of like have to trust back there, but there's going to be a game where he doesn't get a touchdown and he's going to put up a dud. And that's kind of the trade-off that you have there. I'll tell you, I feel a lot better about him next week against Houston than I feel about him this week against Cleveland. But I'm starting him there depending on who I have.
Right. If you need a guy, he could get you a few points. He is touchdown dependent, but
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm putting him like flex every week category, but he's definitely someone that's in consideration every week. Anything else from this one?
No, I said could be a real tough day with no running backs for the Browns. I think Arizona wins this game. They just have no one on offense this week. So
yeah, Cleveland's definitely going to have to overcome some hurdles.
Right. Take the over.
Take the over?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my. Vegas at Denver.
Nice.
It's been a tough week in Vegas, so probably good that they're getting out. Obviously, their first game without head coach John Gruden. I would ask you to speak on it because you asked me to, like you said, we got to talk about it. That's a little bit of bone I have to pick with you. You said you want to talk about like we got to talk about that, and then you just proceeded to say nothing, which is probably like safer for everyone involved in the show. But also that meant that I just had to talk about it, and I didn't want to talk about it.
I just want to know your thoughts. Like that's really it. Like
I was terrified that
I don't know why you're terrified.
I'm not good in those situations.
You know what?
I'm not good at being serious or talking about anything serious. That's why I talk about fantasy football. Fantasy is literally the opposite of just real life issues. And I try to stay as far away from it as possible because I'm not good at saying the right thing, even on this show. I barely say the right thing ever.
Amen.
And that's what I love about fantasy football. You can be wrong all the time. Nobody really cares that much as long as you're entertained.
I care a lot. No, I mean, all I gotta say is what Derek Carr said. He said, "Love the man, hate the sin." You know,
There you go.
I think that works for everyone, though. Love everyone. Love everyone.
I mean, it kind of does.
I mean, honestly, but for real talk, or real fantasy talk, not real
There you
talk.
go. Good transition.
Thank you. I don't think it affects the team too much. Like at the end of the day, these are grown ass men. You kind of don't need to be like baby fed like you would in like a high school setting or college setting even.
This is their job. They can like move on from that kind of stuff, process
Right.
it and stuff like that.
Because like if this was going to be like a huge like world shattering event for them, then like we wouldn't have trades ever, and then people wouldn't be productive in the new team because you're going to a new team, new system that could possibly be what this maybe the.
I think I get what you're trying to say, but I don't think we need to keep explaining.
Right.
I'm scared.
Again, oh no, be scared.
But yeah, I think it's going to affect them a little bit, but like I also just don't think that they were ever as good as they started out the year being.
Mm-hmm.
I think Denver wins this game, and for that reason, I think one of these running backs in Denver has a very good day. I think you could just take a guess at whoever that's going to be, but one of them I think is going to have a day. My bet is just on Javonte Williams because I like him more. Melvin Gordon has just disappointed me at every year of fantasy football that I've ever had. Melvin Gordon, he has been utterly terrible.
Okay.
And that's really it. Like that's really the only reason I go against him. But
it's weird though, because Melvin Gordon,
he's also had some injuries.
Yeah, but Melvin Gordon has more yards on the ground, and he also has more targets and reception yardage than Williams. So like it's weird to say that to a guy who's literally number 2 at his own position. So
is he number 2 by much though? Like that's the thing. I feel like it's a pretty close split.
It's close. I mean, Melvin Gordon has 282 yards. Javonte has 247 on the ground. Gordon has 96 yards on 10 receptions, and Javonte has 75 yards on 11 receptions. So, like, it's close. It's just, like...
Javonte's been healthy. I think that's also a big part of it, too. Like, Melvin's been dealing with a couple injuries of late, so I think he just has a little bit of that advantage there. I like one of their running backs to have a good week. Again, like, it's any guess. I really don't think it's bad if you go with a Melvin Gordon. I'm not going to fight you too much on it, just because of how close it is.
I said it was going to be a great day to run the ball for the Broncos. I think they both eat this game. I don't think it's like as. I don't know who I'd rather have, to be honest. It's kind of tough, but I think they both have a good day against the Raiders, who let up an insane amount of rushing yards every game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be good for the running backs. My other thing from this game is Derek Carr still a fantasy relevant quarterback, or can we just like move on from that?
You don't like Derek Carr like at all, or like
just I mean, he's fine streaming option, but I don't think he's worth rostering every week. Like, I don't think he's worth keeping on your team.
I mean, so
like
I
mean, some of the numbers reflect that as far as he's rostered in 49% of leagues now.
Right. So I hear you. Like, I hear what you're saying. And like looking at the fantasy points, yeah, he is disappointing. Doesn't have 100 points yet, which most other quarterbacks do. But he has the second most yards like through the air. The touchdowns are going to have to come, and I think you keep him on your team as like a weekly streamer. I don't think you like just let go of him, because Derek Carr has weapons on his team that like he could throw it. and get you like a 35-point day if it's the right matchup.
So I think the yards, if we look at how the yards have like split as far as just how the season's gone, he got 435 week 1, 382 week 2, and 386 in week 3. Since then, he had 196 against the Chargers and then 206 against the Bears. So a lot of that came in the first 3 weeks. We've seen a pretty big fall off.
Chargers are in the top like 7 for pass defense, and Bears are like 5 spots or 4 spots below them. So Chargers and Bears are tough pass defense.
But
so
the Broncos can't be much worse, right?
Broncos are
they?
They're actually better. They're better than.
Yeah, they're giving up the second least fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks,
right,
averaging 13 points.
Right. I'm not saying you start Derek Carr this week. I'm just saying I think you keep him on your team. I
just don't think he's worth a roster spot.
I mean, it depends. Like, bye weeks are coming up. You're going to need a quarterback. Like, who else are you going to get? You want Taysom Hill? You want Marcus Mariota?
Well, I don't think it's that long.
But you're going to get there. Like, if every team if you drop them, someone else has a quarterback. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so, but this is his schedule. Like, he plays Denver.
And
then he plays Philly, who's like not a great like it's not a bad matchup, but it's not a great matchup. And then he has his own bye week. So I don't think he's worth rostering for the next 3 weeks. And then maybe against the Giants and Kansas City, he has a good stretch after from week 9 to like week 12 or 13. But like,
right, which is when you're trying to push for the playoffs. Like, I think you kind of keep him. Like, I don't know who else. I mean, Daniel Jones is hurt. Kyler Murray's a little banged up. Lamar's sick.
You're not doing anything with Kyler Murray.
No, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, like, there's people on rosters who are getting a little banged up. Russell Wilson broke his finger, obviously. Like, Jimmy G's out. Brissett. Trey Lance is a little questionable. Tyrod's out. Like, there's injuries along the way. So some people might have 2 quarterbacks on their team. You could be stuck with starting Zach Wilson as your quarterback if you drop Derek Carr. Like, that's a risk you have to take. You could have to start Mac Jones. Like, I think you keep him on your bench. I don't say start him every week, but hey, if you rather start Mac Jones and
there's also, like, if we look at our league, 12 team league,
right?
On waivers this week was Taylor Heineke, Trevor Lawrence, Carson Wentz, Teddy Bridgewater. I think those guys are all comparable to what Derek Carr can give you.
I mean, none of them are scoring more than Derek.
Correct.
On the season.
He had a big 3 weeks. I mean, like 2, and then that was when, like, the first 3 weeks of the season. I just don't know.
Against teams that are weaker than them, he puts up fantastic numbers. Against tough defenses, he puts up down-to-earth numbers. I think that's a fair assessment to make on Derek.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. It's like all these guys are on waivers with buys this week. And I think they're all playing easier defenses than the Denver defense. So
they are.
I would rather not have Carr on my roster and have one of those guys. If you're saving him for those weeks where you think that he can go off and, like, after week 9, I just think that's kind of like wasting a roster spot. But if you want to have 2 quarterbacks, then I can't lie and say that stretch is not tempting or not.
If you can't say Derek Carr's a bad fantasy quarterback when he puts up 3 good weeks. I mean, right now he's playing tough defenses. I think he's an interesting conversation to have as far as, do you keep him or do you let him go? Personally, I think you keep him if you can afford to. Like, obviously, if you just have so many injuries, like you lost CEH and you need Williams on the roster, and you lost Montgomery, and then you have the other Williams on the roster, and you got Zeke or Pollard or something like that. Like, you have just backups and handcuffs. I understand dropping him, but if you're healthy, you don't have handcuffs, and you just have, like, interesting people who could get you 1 week, you might as well get Derek Carr.
Or we'll agree to disagree, but we
Yeah,
have we have to
got
move
to
on
move on. Too
to the
long on
next
Derek
game.
Carr. Too long on Derek Carr.
Dallas at New England.
Nice.
New England's going to take away something. I just have no idea what, whether that's going to be the pass game or the rush game. I don't think they're going to be able to fully take away anything just because Dallas, this offense is so good and they have so many weapons, but they're going to like limit something.
Right. I mean, based off the year so far, it looks like they're going to limit the pass and excuse me.
Yeah, if you use the Tampa Bay game as an
Right.
example,
Like Patriots look like they're going to like limit the pass and just let you kind of run it, which I mean, Elliott is hurt, not like bad hurt, just a little bruised up from landing on the camera. His back ribs are a little bruised, so I don't think that slows him down too much. I just think him, Pollard, and Dak could all just have a good rushing game against New England. Pass game could be a little tight, but I think that CD and Amari, they're good wide receivers. They will do their best to make it work, and I think that they're going to be okay.
Amari, I want to correct myself. Amari is the second most terrifying, like good player in fantasy football. He has 3 catches every week, I think, besides week 1. And he's been good in like the majority of those games because 1 has been a big touchdown, but it's just terrifying to see that he's only getting 3 catches in every game. That worries me.
Right.
I
mean, his average depth of target or his average reception is 12.7, so almost 13 yards. He only has one. His longest has been the 35-yard bomb on the year. So I mean, 3 catches is 36 yards plus the 3 for the catches, 6.6. It is kind of terrifying if he doesn't get that touchdown. So I'm with you, but I think he's a good player, and I think that's like why it's like terrifying because it's like how good he can be.
You're scared to sit him, but you're also scared to play him.
Right. It's one of those things. Would you rather start Amari or Antonio Brown?
Antonio Brown.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Like pretty handily. I mean, maybe that's just a me thing, but like the volume is certainly something that I just can't turn down.
Yeah.
I'm not playing any Patriots. Don't trust any of them. I don't care if Damian Harris is healthy. I don't care if he's hurt. I'm not starting any of those running backs. I'm not starting any of the receivers. Like maybe if you're in a pinch like Jacoby Myers, but like I don't know. I really don't trust anybody yet.
So I'm gonna disagree with you on Jacoby Myers, and just the big reason I think Hunter Henry could have a decent game too, but I think Jacoby Myers is in for a good game just because Cowboys pass defense lets up the most yards per game. Like if you're gonna beat the Cowboys, you throw the football. I don't think Mac Jones is an immaculate quarterback. Not like super, like saying it. I'm a little worried just because it is Mac Jones, but I think that Jacoby Myers is. I think you can start Jacoby Myers. There is a little risk to it, but like he is someone who I would start for or from the Patriots this week, especially just because Cowboys let you throw the ball on them because they know that they can just go back and run it down your throat. So, like, I think he's a fine option to start, pinch or no pinch.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to start one of those wide receivers, is definitely the one that I would go with.
Right.
But yeah, I'm just kind of scared about New England. They had a close call with the Texans, which I don't think is a great thing. Yeah, so that kind of worries me a bit.
Right.
Anything else from this one?
No. I said good day for CD and Amari ? Just with Zeke's ribs. don't know how much that will affect him. Rib injuries are always weird because it is on the back, so it's not really your breathing, but front rib you breathe. So I don't know.
It's yeah, I think you're saying that there's a big difference between the back rib and the front rib.
Right, there is. I just don't know. Like,
What
you don't know.
about the back rib and the baby back?
Baby back with a little Tennessee barbecue sauce on there. Delicious.
We'll see how that could affect Zeke.
Yeah.
Sunday night game, Seattle at Pittsburgh.
Bears.
Pittsburgh heavy favorites.
Wow.
I think DK is going to have a monster game.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Pittsburgh's allowing the second most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. We saw when Geno came in the game, he was just like kind of staring him down. Like it was just kind of DK. That was it. He just got the ball, said, "Where is he?" Didn't take him too hard to find him. He's not really a guy that like blends in all that like too well. He's giant of a human being. So it seemed like he was the clear favorite. And I think he's going to have a huge game, like 20, 22, 20 plus. I am interested to see what happens with Lockett not having those kind of like moon balls that he typically gets from Russ.
Right. I think it's going to be a down week for Lockett again. I said it a couple weeks back. I'll be looking to trade Lockett. And since I said that, he's kind of went down a little bit. I said I like DK. I'm with you. I think it's going to be a great game. A great game for DK. Holy cow. That took a lot to say.
I'm glad you figured it out. Yeah, I think DK. So we're both on him, and then I think Claypool is an every week starter. Rest of the season is another take that I had from this one. I think he's going to be good in this game against Seattle defense that's not particularly good, and I think he's just going to be good the rest of the year. I'm pretty high on him, especially after this Juju injury.
Yeah, Seahawks are letting up the second most yards just behind the Cowboys, or just in front of the Cowboys. Sorry. Yeah, I'm with you. I think Claypool's a fine option, especially like the people around him, who you would be starting over him. It's kind of, you could find an upside for both of them. And I think it's interesting, especially with Juju going down.
Yeah, agreed. Anything else?
No.
All right.
To say.
Let's get into our bold predictions before we sign off. We can recap last week first. Do you want mine or do you want yours?
We'll go yours first.
Okay.
I'll let you go.
I can start off by saying it was not our best week.
No, we've done better.
We were combined 0-6. Didn't hit on any of our bold predictions. The stats right now, I am 2 for 9.
Right.
Cody is 1 for 9.
Right.
I don't want to brag, but I do have double of what you have.
Right, but I've been way closer on the ones I've missed, though.
I don't think that's true. I literally had a guy who I said top 5, and he came in top 6.
Last week, I think I had 2 people who were like 2 or 3 spots away from where I was.
All right, well, you'll find out soon.
All right.
I said first one was Emmanuel Sanders will be a top 12 wide receiver. He did have a massive week, over 20 points, but he came in at wide receiver 16.
Way off.
Juju and Claypool, I said they would be outside of the top 40 wide receivers. That did not happen. I did not predict a Juju injury. Obviously, I don't want anything bad to happen to anybody, let alone Juju. Juju's one of my favorite TikTokers. The last thing I want to see him, because now, like, not only are we not going to be able to see him on the football field, but like we're not going to be like, I don't know what the dances are, but like that.
That
is, you do that? Like he's not going to be able to do that. He hurt his shoulder.
Keep it moving. That was rough. Rough.
I just don't want to see him hurt. I want to see him out there, like whether that be on the field or like talking. I don't want him to deal with that. He finished as wide receiver 120, but Chase Claypool made the most of his opportunities in his absence and finished as a wide receiver 12. So that one was wrong. Probably my biggest miss on the week was Trey Lance as the QB1. And when you have bold takes, sometimes you're going to miss. Just happens. Trey Lance finished as QB20. He did fall just short of the end zone on a carry. Might have propelled him up a few spots. I don't know about QB1, but maybe that would have lit a fire under him, and he would have came out and be like, I can just bulldoze anybody and get into the end zone. And
wait, how good did he do last week?
I said he was QB20.
Tough.
1 yard away from getting a touchdown, though. Rushing touchdown. Big rushing touchdown. Probably would have changed the whole game.
Who knows?
As for Todi's picks, first one, this was a close one. Tyreek Hill under 50 yards. I don't know if that was receiving or...
I think I said 50 receiving yards.
Okay. Well, he had 63.
I was close on that one.
You were close in that regard. Hurts outside of the top 15 quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
He finished as QB7 on the week.
Close.
I don't know. Maybe. And then Najee Harris would have single-digit fantasy points in week 5 was the prediction. He finished with 22.2. But
wait, what? He had 9? Oh, no, sorry. My bad. Wrong one.
Well, the thing is, if you take away 2 of those 2s, then he only had 2.
Right. That's what I was saying.
So I think that was probably your closest one.
Right.
If I had to pick. I want you to go first because I think I've went first every week.
Right. That might be the problem. I think you just start us off so bad.
And then I also only have 2 right now, so I got to think about one.
Okay. So my first one is that Keenan Allen will have a 25-plus point week. I think he's in for it. Chargers are playing the Ravens. It's not a defense that scares you in the pass. It is stopping some people from scoring, but they're giving up almost 300 yards through the air. Mike Williams could possibly be out. So I think it's a big Eckler game and a big Keenan Allen game. I think Keenan Allen is due for a monster game. 25 points or more for my boy Keenan Allen.
It's a strong one. There we go.
Yeah.
Where's
my name? This is bold prediction.
Oh, sorry.
I want the recognition. Thank you.
Okay. Now that you got the recognition,
certified.
My first pick we talked about yesterday. We have to negotiate this. My bold prediction is that Jonathan Taylor rushes for 150 yards. Has a great matchup against Houston. I think that this is going to be a massive Jonathan Taylor game. I think I should get a bonus. I literally wrote down negotiate for bonus for 158 yards exactly because that's just what I see in my head. I think that's what's going to happen. But
this is pure rushing, though.
Yes.
Yeah, no passing. If he gets exactly 158 rushing yards, I'll make it count as 2.
Okay, there we go. We got our first bonus point.
I will give you that bonus. The closest he's got so far is 103. The rest of the weeks, he got 56, 51, 64, and 53. So I'm not uber worried, but the fact that, I'm betting against you, that always, ends super well for me. So that always works good. This one is going to get so much hate.
Oh, no.
This is going to just be awesome. I said Stephon Diggs will finish as a top 5 wide receiver this week. He's 20. He's 25 right now. Hasn't missed a game.
Yes, but it's still Stephon Diggs.
Right, but Stephon Diggs, he's finished well. 15, 16, 12, 18, and 8.9. He's coming off of a bummer of a week against a team that he had to throw against. So, he hasn't been the Stephon of old. He's been the new Stephon, and he's the 25th ranked wide receiver. I think.
Can I say that Dalvin's going to finish top 5?
If you want to, I hope so. I need him. He's on my team. Stephon's not.
I don't know if that's bold though.
Hey, Todi's Timid take. I have to bring it back. I said 4 bold ones in a row, and that was
yeah. You were. I suppose you were on too good of a stretch for it to be true.
well, no, it just didn't live up to that name. It'd be Todi's crazy hairline fracture take. I don't know, something crazy.
Okay, that is an interesting one.
He hasn't finished it. He hasn't finished inside the top 10 yet this year, I think, on the week.
We're back. We're back.
What do you mean? He hasn't finished in the top 10 on a week yet. I'm saying he's finished in the top.
Diggs, though. Like, I don't know.
I mean, what do you mean you don't know? Like, what do you want me to say? Like, the dude hasn't looked great yet. Like, he hasn't even looked good. He hasn't finished as a top 1 wide receiver yet. I'm saying this week he finishes as a top 5 against the Tennessee Titans, who have a moderately tough pass defense.
Stop. No, they're not.
Moderately tough.
Name one corner for the Tennessee Titans.
Can't do it. Name one corner on the Dallas Cowboys.
Trayvon Diggs, Anthony Brown.
So you can name one, and yet Cowboys are last in the league.
I can name one for the Titans as well, but
okay, do it. I don't care.
I don't know if he plays yet. Caleb Farley.
Probably not, Kondo.
I don't know. He might be hurt. That's why.
I hope not. I hope everyone's okay. I want everyone healthy.
My second one is one that I might have just written down. But we talked about this guy earlier in the show when we were talking about Nick Chubb. And I think Demetric Felton finishes as a top 20 running back in fantasy football this week.
Top 20 this week. That's interesting.
Oh, I got to go. Sorry. Some people might have thought that was a timid take because I had the thing on the bottom. But no, it is not. Demetric Felton.
That's interesting. I mean, Nick Chubb's out. Who are they playing? They're playing Arizona.
Kevin Byard plays safety, Kenny. There's a good try, though.
Yeah, good try. Wait, how's Arizona against a run, though? Are they, like, even remotely?
I don't know. I don't know.
Arizona's literally 4th worst against a run. That's such a soft take.
What do you mean? The guy, we haven't seen the guy play.
He's the backup, though. Like, he's the backup.
He's the 3rd string.
What do you mean? Wait. We haven't seen him play? He hasn't got any snaps yet this year?
Any snap? Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm talking about, like, in a role where he could put up 20 points. Like, 20 or where he could be a top 20 running back. We haven't seen him in that kind of role. We barely seen him play. There you go, Cody. Oh,
thank you. But I think that's more of a timid take. Come on.
I don't know, man. I think that's stronger than Stephon Diggs' top 5 wide receiver.
I said this week finishes at. What do you mean?
So
all right. So look at the wide receivers who finished so far. Antonio Brown dropped a 25-point bomb this game. That's Antonio Brown, the guy who's behind him. Mm-hmm. Like, not even a guy who's, like, already above him.
The most touches that Demetric Felton has ever gotten in a game is 2, and we haven't seen him have a rushing attempt yet this year.
Exactly. This is PPR. All you need is 10 receptions for 5 yards. There you go. 20 points.
I don't think – is that true?
No, that's in a touch.
I don't think that's true at all. I think that's –
10 receptions, 5 yards each.
10.5 points, actually.
What? 20.5? Perfect.
I don't even know how to come back from it. I don't think that is close.
I got you, baby. Don't worry, I got you.
All right. Give me your – oh, there we go. You gonna go?
Oh, I couldn't hear you. You broke up completely. I was waiting for you to talk. All right. Whew. I don't know. Like, this was a tough one for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to find my last.
I'm gonna go quarterback, just because. Big quarterback guy. Just love me some QBs, baby. You know how I am. Nothing makes me happier than seeing quarterbacks throw the football. I think Geno Smith finishes as a top 8 quarterback in the week.
Okay. All right.
Geno Smith has been playing in the league since 1993. Finishing in at number 8.
QB 8 or higher. All right. I mean, I'll hate it. Todi's Timid takes, ladies and gents, keeps the people coming back.
It really does.
Week in and a week out.
I don't know who got 10.5 points, but congratulations.
I'm going to.
No, 10.5 is if he only gets.
Well, you said 10 receptions for 5 yards.
Yeah, 5 yards each.
Well, you didn't say that.
I tried to say it. I said it. If it broke up, I can't say it. No, I said it. If it broke up.
You said 10 receptions for 5 yards. That's different.
10 receptions for 5 yards each.
You corrected me for saying Demetric Felton hasn't played. You're like, oh, he hasn't played a single snap. And you don't expect me to correct you for saying, 10 receptions for 5 yards. No,
it wasn't you. It was the fans.
I said pose, but
our favorite fan at that.
I said 10.5 before.
My favorite fan corrected me. That's all I need to say, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know if he can be my favorite.
Oh, he's my favorite, so
that's a little biased. I don't know if I like that.
He's my favorite. He's my number one fan.
I'm trying to think of something that's different here. I had 3 running back ones, and I don't necessarily want to go all running backs.
I went 2 wide receivers. I think you should throw in a quarterback. I want to hear a quarterback take from you because I think it's easier to go like running backs, wide receivers. I think tight ends and quarterbacks are a little bit difficult. I want you to go.
Let me go quarterback here then. I gotta look a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry. I like the Geno take. I'm a fan of that. I think
I don't know how he's gonna do. I mean, just because he kind of literally only looked to DK, but if defenses were like keen on that and like, hey, double DK, triple DK, who knows? But it could be.
I was gonna go with one take, but I think it literally happened last week, so I don't know if I can do it. But if it happens 2 weeks in a row, would be pretty unreal. I might just go one. I'm gonna say it for our international fans, which I know there's tons of. First off, cheerio. Second off, I'm excited that you guys get to see football firsthand. Everybody deserves to see football firsthand. Tottenham Hotspur. I'm thankful for them allowing this to happen. Even if it is the Dolphins and Jags, I want you to get a good game, so I'm going to will Tua into having a top 5 week after coming back from injury. Do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not. But I was put on the spot to do a quarterback take, and I'm going to do it. So
I think we should stick to like maximum 2 per position. I think it's more fun that way.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't originally think I was going to do Demetric Felton, so my other one was another guy I talked about in Javonte Williams, but like I didn't really feel great about that either, so I'm going to put down Tua. I don't feel great about Tua at 5, but at least it's quarterback. So Tua, top 5 quarterback this week.
I mean, Tua was 17 for 31, 215, 1-1, 4 rushes. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, all he has to do. It's all about touchdowns. If he just throws 5 touchdowns instead.
Not even Jalen Hurts he threw for 100 yards, but just ran it 38 times. So, you know, that's how a good quarterback is now. You don't have to throw the ball. No more Tom Brady's. Just run the ball.
I didn't change my thing. But yeah, Tua, top 5. All right, let's get into stream questions here. Would you trade Cordell Patterson and Nelson Aguilar for Jacoby Myers and Jamison Crowder? I think I know this answer from Cody. Absolutely.
Would I? Every day, baby. Every day of the week.
Would I? You don't have to say would you when you already have.
The question is, would you? What's up, guys? Yeah, you know, living life every day.
Living life, trading Cordell Patterson, Nelson Aguilar for Jacoby Myers and Jamison Crowder.
Happens to the best of us.
Just doing what you normally do on any given day. Chuba is out. What's the impact? Is this Chuba or is this Chubb?
I think it's Chubba Hubba, right?
Chubba Hubba? Is he? He's fully healthy. I think it's the.
Is this Nick Chubb?
Yeah, I think it's Chubb. Like we said, I mean, we talked about this. I think it's the first thing we talked about. Obviously, if you have Kareem Hunt, that's awesome for you. If you have Chubb, gonna kind of have to scramble. Demetric Felton is a good bench ad, but I probably wouldn't play him this week. I mean, I made it my bold prediction that he's going to be a top 20 running back. It's bold for a reason. So,
Kondo, I just got breaking news.
is it McCaffrey thing?
McCaffrey has been ruled out.
Yeah, I did see that. So
Chubb, so hey, Panthers are going to lose this game, so that's good.
I don't know if that's true. Is Scary Terry going to play? I hope so. I think he will, but that's just my gut reaction. That's not like any.
There is no fact behind Kondo's takes whatsoever. So
what they said was he came in and his hamstring was tight, so they just took it easy, but they were just being pretty precautious.
Yeah, I mean the reports say he should play, so
yeah, like playoff Lenny over Henderson. I just don't think they're going to run the ball as much as the Rams are, but that's really my only take on it.
It's more of a personal preference, I guess, because Henderson.
I think it is close.
Yeah, Fournette is starting to come into it. I mean, it's not really impacting Tom too much because Tom still has thrown more, like he's over 2,000 yards already. So, I think it's helpful to them.
It's crazy. Do I pick up Amon-Ra St. Brown and drop Madison or Darrell Williams? My wide receiver are Hill,
Justin Jefferson,
DJ Moore, A-Rob, Waddle. I don't think you can. I mean, I wouldn't. I think Hill was going to be lengthy. I think Justin Jefferson will play. I think, obviously, I don't think there's any problems with DJ Moore. But yeah, I just don't think it's worth it, even for the week.
Not worth it. Keep it. If you lose your week, that's okay. Rather have the people on your team.
Yeah, in the long term, honestly. Jalen Hurts struggles passing the ball, and his wide outs drop passes. Also, the D-line of the Bucs are insane, so they couldn't run that much. As far as I think that was as far as our Miles Sanders talks.
Right.
This was about, I remember seeing this one. This was about the Mike Evans thing.
Right. Mike Evans, he needs to listen to our show, for one, as all people should. But two, he needs to just not give away his offense's plays by his lack of effort.
A little compliment there too, Cody.
Yeah, thank you.
Feed Miles Sanders more, please. Exactly. Thank you, Brendan. I like Javonte Williams this week. We both said we like Denver to run the ball. Hopefully, it is just Javonte that sees the benefit of it, or the benefit of most of it. So we will find out. Actually, before I leave that, Javonte was going to be my other bold prediction. I was going to say that Javonte finishes as an RB1, but I did not. That's not on my official list.
Isn't he at 13 right now?
No, definitely not. His max he's had in a week is 13 points. So 13.2. So would have been a long shot. Do I trade Gibson, Jamal Williams, and Amari for Kamara, Stafford, and Waddle? I would.
I mean, you get Kamara, and you're giving up kind of nobody, so go for it.
I think you're giving up a lot, but
you get Kamara, though.
It's Alvin Kamara, so yeah. I mean, I don't trust Amari that much. I don't trust Waddle, but I don't. I think you're getting the best player in the deal. You got to pay up for somebody like that. Good question. Very good question for Todi. It says your name in it. I can't answer.
Oh, I'll read it. Todi, if Tony Jones has more yards than Kamara, would you say Tony Jones is better than Kamara? If they played the same amount of games and they're at the same position on the same team and they get the same closest snaps, obviously one athlete would be better than the other, right? I mean, maybe. Yeah, I did say touchdown, folks.
I don't think he did. I don't think a touchdown was ever mentioned.
Play the tape. Play it back.
I don't know if we have those capabilities.
Yeah, well, we better start getting some, shouldn't we? All right? Play it back.
Anything else before we sign off? Tyreek Hill was at practice. So
That's good.
that's very good for the second take extra.
Right. Second Take Extra has more fantasy knowledge than I think anyone I've ever met.
Honestly.
This man's coming in clutch. I love it. I love it.
I think that is it for us today. Unless there are any questions that come in while I'm doing my little spiel I normally do at the end. Thank y'all for listening, watching, however you consume this. As you know, there are a variety of ways to consume this show. Orally, no, you can't eat our show, but you can watch it at YouTube on Your Wildest Fantasy Football Show.
Right.
And on Twitch at Your Wildest Fantasy. You can also listen to us in podcast form.
Right.
Pretty much anywhere that podcasts are. Spotify, Amazon, Apple. I think we're in Google Play or Google, whatever it is. So check us out, even if you can't watch us live. And yeah, I think that's like my spiel. Last question. Mooney, a good play if Robinson is out.
Yeah. You're gonna be more optimistic than I am.
I think so. I mean, depends on your options. Like, I don't know, like, what kind of name game we would have with Mooney, but like, would you rather start Mooney or any of the Jacksonville wide receivers?
I don't know about any of them. Maybe like maybe Marvin Jones. I guess I'd kind of like him more.
Okay, I would rather start him than any of them.
Wait, any
of the Jags receivers?
Wow. I mean,
if Allen Robinson's out, he'd be the only wide receiver.
Yeah, but you have to remember, Justin Fields is his quarterback. Like, that does dampen.
I mean, but you also hate Trevor Lawrence.
I said, yeah, I don't know. I like Trevor more than I like Justin. Justin can't throw. Trevor will at least launch it. Like, he will throw he's high risk, high reward. Mainly high risk. Not a whole lot of reward yet. Probably not till he retires and it's got a lot of reward. But Justin Fields can't throw.
It's an absurd take.
All right, 37 for 72, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown, less than 500 yards.
I cannot wait for 4 years from now or 3 years from now or even maybe 2 years from now, maybe 1 year from now, when Justin Fields is absolutely running that division and just destroying the Vikings.
I mean, hey, it doesn't take much to destroy the Vikings though, so congratulations. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
I think Mooney's a good play. Cody does not.
I don't love it. It depends on who you have.
Who's the running back to own on the Raiders? I think Josh Jacobs is a good fantasy asset. I actually like Josh Jacobs. Now, is he an RB1? No. Is he an RB2? I think so.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs, I think his value is a lot lower right now than his actual value for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Mooney had 5 for 125 against Detroit. Can you do the quick math on that before we leave, Cody?
Yeah, 17.5 points.
17.5 points. If Jacobs is out this week, that makes more sense. I don't think Jacobs is going to be out this week, but if he is, I think you got to go Barber, right?
I'm with you. It's the Raiders offense, so how much do you want to invest in it? But
against Denver.
Right. So, hey, go do what makes you happy. If you want Peyton Barber on your team, go for Peyton Barber. But it's gonna be a 1 or 2 week thing. Nothing crazy though.
Yeah, and Josh Jacobs, wasn't it an illness?
I think it's an illness. I don't think it's an actual injury this week
So I'm not too worried, but we'll find out. He did miss practice today, so we will see what happens as far as that goes. Right. Thank you all for listening. Good luck with your matchups this week, and we will see y'all on Monday to recap it all.
See you then.